Hi, welcome to Makeover Your Life. And today we're talking about business, makeover your business, and of course, giving you tips by a business tycoon, Phillip Chiyangwa. And you've heard about Richard Branson in Europe, but now we've got Phillip Chiyangwa in Zimbabwe. So we're going to have a chat about business. If you're a businessman, businesswoman, listen to some tips, something that may take your business to another level. We would like you to prosper and prosper the right way. So, welcome, Phillip Chiyangwa.
Thank you very much. Okay.
You see what I mean? So, yeah, welcome to the program. And tell me about how you started your business and what inspired you to start business.
I came up from very humble beginnings. Lord permitting allowed me to have a vision that I would borrow from my mom, who was a vegetable vendor herself. My father was always in political detention, better known as restrictee detainee, and from time to time he would be arrested and rearrested during the Smith time.
Right.
And we had to fend for ourselves because there was a line for us to survive, which was the marketplace, Musiba, Chegutu. And I was the guy who would, at the age of 7, 8, 9, thereabouts, go out and order the goods from Musengezi farming community, bring them to Chegutu, and we would sell. I would know that if I buy the vegetables at such a price, I would mark up and ensure that that would be profitable and lead us to all go for our education, resulting in the men that you see here today. But just the journey there was such that I finished my secondary education in Chegutu and proceeded to Harare to do diplomas in bookkeeping and accounts. I then got a job in Bulawayo at Bulawayo Board of Executives, leading to me working there for nearly 2 years, and then proceeded to work for Dunlop Zimbabwe as a work-study trainee, as I undertook a course with the Institute of Management Services, where I became an industrial engineering assistant. I worked for nearly 2 years again, and then proceeded to Harare, where I worked for Willover Motor Industries as one of their accounts trainees immediately after independence, which saw me, understand the motor industry, and then moved over to Van Leer, Zimbabwe, which now is called Griff, which is a packaging company.
Right.
And then that led to me being hired as a management trainee. And that was the last company I worked for, because I gave up on, there were so many jobs for trainees, immediately after independence, nothing substantive. And I couldn't wait for me becoming the substantive head. If anything, the guy that I was with as management training is now the managing director of the company. That is now nearly 20 years since I left employment.
Wow. Okay.
And I am here sitting as owner of my own business, and I think I have made an achievement.
It does feel good, eh?
Yes.
It pays off.
Sure.
And I think, you've set an example for most men.
Yes.
I mean, you're a man of excellence, and I have spoken to you about excellence in the past in my programs, and I think, I must say he's one of the well-dressed men in the country, and I think we should always appreciate and look at how he presents himself and learn from it. And I was going to ask you about your business. You now got a bigger investment company now, and it's got everything under one roof. There's a lot of stuff going on, and tell us a bit briefly about that. What sort of things you're aiming to do in that project you're working on, hotels and things like that. I mean, you really have diversified yourself, haven't you?
I've had a very good time since I left politics and delved into my own business enterprise, and as such have set goals that I need to achieve. One is to list most of the entities, because as a result of having acquired them in the 1999, I had set a goal that I would have listed them by now. But I didn't do so, but instead sold and then started some, and no wonder we've got Pinnacle coming up now, which is probably going to be the largest privately owned entity going on the stock exchange.
Right.
What has happened in the past, as you will probably find out, is that most of property companies on the stock exchange were inherited by those that own them. There is no single one which is an introduction.
Okay.
Pinnacle is an introduction. It's not. It's new investment.
Right.
And we intend to grow that investment into something else. And we have a grand program of introducing to Zimbabwe a totally new dimension of things. If you look at my property competitors, you'll find that these are historical businesses, all of them, from Old Mutual to any of those that are listed on the stock exchange. And even the owners have assumed from past owners. Now, the problem with respect is that when you assume a business, you cannot be able to grow that business unless you do put in new investment. The problem with that is most of those that acquired under either an affirmative action or indigenization program is that once they go onto the market to try and do a rights issue, they dilute themselves. So the result is that you'll find there's no growth in terms of any new money being put into the business or any desire to grow that business, because people are afraid to be diluted out of the business. For the purposes of safari tour operators, people want to hire and go into very high terrain, etc. We've got those vehicles. You can film them outside, some of them, when you leave. You know, and we certainly have a large philanthropic program that we have also launched, where I make donations to the disadvantaged, you know, probably every month.
Oh, so you've been doing that for how long?
For quite some time.
For quite some time, huh?
Quite some time. It's making, you know, community reinvestment work. It's like, I mean, whatever wealth I've got, God has given me wealth, which of course I should try and share with the society I live in.
That's right.
Yes.
I think from what I've just heard is that creativity is part of being successful. You have to do a lot of things under, well, just say use all your talents and gifts, isn't it?
Exactly.
To get where you want to go.
Yes, exactly.
And it's nice to see that, you know, you're an inspiration to many, and that you are, you know, helping others to get there as well.
Sure.
And I'm sure for most men and women would like to know that, you know, how can I'm sure they've heard, you know, things from you that, you know, how you started, and that's inspiring. And when a person wants to start a business, I mean, like, what can they get into that you think hasn't been?
No, when I started off, I certainly had to understand that where there's a wish, there's a way.
Yeah.
And I have had my own setbacks, but that did not deter me from achieving my objective. They say that there is a framework you will operate under. It's SREDIM. It's SREDIM. Okay. You select, record, examine, develop, install, and maintain. Now, each by one, by selecting, it means you must have a vision of saying to yourself, look, this is the objective I want to aim for and get there.
All right.
But before you even explore further, examine whether this is the right path for you to follow.
Right.
Okay? You then, you know, okay, I've jumped something, sorry about this. You select, you record. Recording, that means you take a critical analysis of what you want to pursue. Examine it further, right? Then trial is about developing it, seeing whether it works, right? Then put it into operation, that is installation, right? And then put it into real practice and maintain it. So these are the things that are the simple basics of anybody who wants to do something. They must learn to know that in business it's a risk. Therefore, there's two things you can do. It's either you lose completely or you go in, try, and if you think that I can do it, move. Yeah.
Go with the flow.
But with me, it's like, for people who don't understand, is they think I'm moving like a bullet. You see, when in fact, what I would have done is take some homework on many other aspects and do a hell of a lot of study on what is called competitive analysis versus my own practical applications. And see, between the two, where I can fit in and actually produce maximum results. You go back to the Bible and you have this, you know, saying that everything on earth is under your control, your dominion. Yes, exactly. So you must be able to understand that, you know, those that you call the richest people in the world, such as like Bill Gates, Slim, who is one Liberian character who is staying in Mexico, called a Mexican. You talk about people like Branson, you mentioned earlier on. You know, these people, are human beings like me. What is it that cannot make me rich when you have the tiny Rollins, whose wealth emanated from our own soil here?
Yeah.
When you've got the Oppenheimers, whose wealth emanated from our own soil here. You've got the Moxons, who are the Miku's owners, whose wealth emanated from our soil here. So what's wrong with me being in all over the world known as rich?
Exactly.
What's so fantastic about it? This is why I'm creating an empire here, which I can go with anywhere in the world and say, this is my business, you know, buy into it, and or otherwise, you know, help us get a loan to expand it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I would like to know, what do you do after all this? I mean, there's so much that you do, and I'm sure it does get to you sometimes. You get stressed and go, oh, I need to go on a holiday. What do you do? What does Phillip Chiyangwa does when he's really now headed and he wants to take a holiday?
The richest guys, we're not rich. If you quantify the wealth into American dollars, it's not wealth to talk about with those that you call really rich. And with respect, those that have been the world's richest have continued working up to now. And each year they make 10 to 20 billion US dollars go into their kitty. It's very difficult for a person who wants to be rich to talk about a holiday, to talk about certain relax.
But surely you need to recuperate. Sure.
I don't say wherever you go, you're always busy.
But so if you go on a holiday,
let me give you an example of a guy whose video I've even watched, Prince Alawi. I'm aware that he has some interest in Zimbabwe in construction. And I've watched the guy, he owns 175 companies. He was in his yacht somewhere in the in French something, okay? And he has these flags that reflect each and every one of his businesses. And the guy was on one phone to another, but he said to be on a month vacation.
Oh, right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't want to know what is happening in Citigroup right now. The guy owns a majority stake there. He wants to know what's happening because there's been a crisis there. Are you with me? It's not use I go somewhere and all of a sudden my businesses, which I will have built here, are said to be in a crisis, and I tend to ignore what's happening. I mean, you can be at a holiday where you see an opportunity, and the reason why we go for holidays is to grow our minds.
You're not going to take time to rest.
I mean, the reason why, you know what, I wake up early and try and gym and run and do exercises beyond the treadmill is to try to take away that stress and so forth.
That's
and
what
there's
I'm
nobody
talking about.
refusing me.
So you take a few minutes in the morning to exercise. So that's how you really get rid of the stress.
Exactly.
That's good.
So I mean, yes, there has to be, but I do not want to lie to you. To be ahead of the queue, you gotta keep up pace with what's happening in the world. Technology moves every second, and each and every time you notice computers change. Even everything changes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know you wear lovely suits. I mean, that's a lovely suit you got on. I like the stripe on it and everything. Wow, how many suits do you have?
When it comes to clothes, I have plenty of clothes. Obviously, I live in a very large house, which has too many bedrooms. That are all occupied basically with my clothes and my wife's clothes, and they've now introduced a new suit, and it's a Super 180.
Can I feel it?
Yeah.
Feels nice, eh?
Yeah.
And what is it? Is this Gucci? What is it?
This is a designer shop.
Designer one. Okay, designer way. Oh, right.
Yeah. It's not Chinese.
It's not Chinese. I'm glad to say that. All right, the man of excellence, and learn from him. I've seen clips of it in his lovely house. He's really got style, and not only that, I mean, to see all the shoes and how many shoes he's got and all sorts of things and what he really likes. I mean, do you like jewelry?
But you see this shoe here. This is a fish skin.
Yeah.
This is a fish skin, yeah.
That's it.
That's a fish skin.
Oh yeah, it's quite tender, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a fish skin.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice, eh? It's quite a nice shape. These are the shoes that you get these days, right? And the ties. So how many ties do you have?
You see, you have wardrobes of ties, so I don't know. I dress myself, and I've got all sorts of gadgets that also tell me that I'm not dressed well. So.
Oh, that's handy. Yeah. But how many children now? How How many do you have?
I got a football team, you know. So,
And you do make time to play with the kids?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's
You just
good.
missed my kid just now.
In your office now, it's a lovely office and very relaxing. And talking to Phillip Chiyangwa about business, how to make over your business, how to change your life, and how to change your thinking. You know, don't just think of one thing. I mean, you've heard from the man, and it's all about planning things and really working it out and analyzing a lot of research. Don't just run into business without researching, and also go with your passion. You know, aim for your vision. And of course, just to summarize, that you aim for your vision, and of course you must diversify. I think diversity is the key to success, and he is just the right person to tell you so, because he has actually felt success. Any inspiring or encouraging words?
For those that are starting up, they must stay focused and ensure that you are not deterred from your vision, as all the things that you want are certainly within you. God has given you the ability to figure it all out, and you must always repeat this wherever and when you want to do something, that if God is on my side, who else can be against me? And always focus on that. Don't be deterred by detractors. Forget about detractors, and always say to yourself, look, damn it, I'll do it. Yeah.
Another thing before we go off air is that I wanted to ask you, what is your spiritually like? Do you pray about your businesses before you do them, or how is your spiritual life like?
I'll be honest with you, that those that say that today I'm going to pray because I want to do this, God rewards you for what you prayed for a long time ago. I mean, I think I've been growing up as a very good person and Christian and God-fearing. So basically what I am enjoying now ain't because I was at church last week or last month. It's because I always followed God.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you once again. Phillip Chiyangwa, this is tycoon in Zimbabwe, and I am honored to interview him today. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And I'm Kiri Davis. Bye-bye.